The Halo Infinite Season 3 Battle Pass is done. Now let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this season. Now first of all, how long did it take to complete? For me, 99 games exactly. I went back through Halo Tracker and counted them all. I played on 19 different days. Each of those days, it was about a 1 to 2 hour session. I used double XP boost pretty much the entire time. I played BTB almost exclusively for all of those games, and I was on mouse and keyboard the entire season. So let's start with the good here. I think this Battle Pass had a lot of pretty cool weapon coatings in it, which for me is a motivator to grind through. Armor coatings, they're cool. Well, I don't really like the system, but I mean, getting a cool coating is kind of nice, but I really want more rad variants of weapons and coatings in the game. And so getting some nice skins for your weapons, it's on screen, especially with uploading, it's a big motivator for me. You don't really see your own coating on your armor that often. Frankly, I think this is an area that Infinite is like woefully lacking, especially as a free-to-play title. There are so many other AAA FPS games that have crazy awesome skins and so much more of them and so many more ways to earn them. So finally having a battle pass with a few skins that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm really down to run this. It was nice. Now, overall, it was pretty easy to complete this battle pass, which is both a positive and I think it's a negative, and we'll talk about that when we hit on the bad. It was easy to get through, and it was a nice motivator for the last month and change to hop on pretty often, play, get my challenges done, and then wait for the next weekly reset. I experienced this season also less gigantic ping fluctuations, but I also experienced performance issues elsewhere. So if you played previous seasons, there's been some crazy rubber banding where you'll see the ping go from 40 to 120, back down to 80. We've talked about it before. For me personally, I saw that ping sitting in a more consistent range. This was also at the cost of some other major issues with crashing and freezing, but on the most part, I experienced that. PC performance, when the game wasn't crashing by the way, was improved a bit, and I hope this continues. And finally, the weekly reward is a whole lot easier. If you played in the previous seasons, this is so much easier to knock out your weekly challenges to get the weekly reward, the ultimate challenge reward, or whatever it's called. This also falls into the bad though, because I feel like you can wrap this thing up sometimes on the first day of playing, and then if you're just not motivated, you're like, I'll wait for the next reset for the next challenge to come through. Now the bad. Okay, so the obvious here is for the day-to-day players of this game. I didn't really touch Infinite very much in Season 2. Pretty burned out, didn't think it was very fun, was kind of shocked at how long that season had to last. And so this is really my first time since Season 1 getting an experience of what a more day-to-day play experience is like. And oh my goodness, man, you can wrap this battle pass up so quickly if you're a daily grinder. And I know plenty of people did. And there is no long-term progression system or grindable goals in the game, which, I mean, that's ridiculous at this point. That is strange to me. We're looking at coming up on, what, 2 years here in November, and Infinite still is lacking information about a more detailed progression system. I'm not an engineer, but I'm just saying the optics as a player, you have to wonder how hard is it to legitimately give me some cool long-term unlocks based on gameplay achievements. Like, look, get 1,000 kills with the bandit rifle. Give me a coding for that. Or get, 50 headshots with the sniper rifle. Give me a charm for that. Give me something, some kind of long-term goals to push for. Previous games have had them, even if it's just baked into the menus. There is something so incentivizing about wanting to be a completionist and knock those things out. So if you're a real day-to-day grinder and you finished up this battle pass, I saw some creators were done within 2 weeks or less. It's like, what do you do for the rest of the season? You're just seeing your career stat go up of games completed. That is one of the big obviouses of making the battle pass so much quicker to finish. On the one hand, somebody like me is like, okay, well, cool, that's great, but now really I'm just gonna probably go play MCC until we get Season 4 of Halo Infinite in here. So long-term progression system's got to come in here. The shop, wow, I didn't really, again, look at the shop very much in Season 1. I think purchasing and supporting is a direct correlation of if you think it's on track, it's doing well, support that direction. And I really wasn't in that zone or headspace in Season 2. This season I did look at the shop on the resets, and it's messy. The UI is confusing on it. The consequences of the coding system is so apparent everywhere, where it's all bundles, right? It's like, well, here's this coding, but you're gonna get it with 18 tiny icons because it's gonna apply to A, B, C, or D. It's right that it does, but if you're somebody just trying to navigate it, going well, what do I want? How do I shop here? It just seems like it's a little bit lacking. Now let's talk about the ugly of Season 3. crashes and instability. Out of the 99 games that I played, I had to have crashed at least a dozen times or more. It's infuriating when it happens. In certain matches, like you're in the zone, you're killing it, and then the game just freezes, crashes to desktop, and it's so frustrating. The other thing I encountered for a couple of weeks was the setting reset bug, where every time you close the game or it crashes and you reboot, all of your control settings are gone. I became a wizard at literally hopping into the settings and changing everything back to my original setup, because every time I launched the game for 2 weeks, the settings would reset, and this is one of the most irritating aspects of the entire season, because performance shouldn't be getting worse, the stability shouldn't be getting worse, and these kind of bugs that have been around forever, they need to be gone at this point. I get the question a lot, why do you still play? Even when I put out community posts, I mean, there's obvious reactions of dude, no one cares, people moved on, this thing's dead, they had their chance. And those are super valid comments. Every time I read it, I'm like, yeah, you have every right to be done, to walk away, to not care until there's a reason to care again. My answer for why I still play is I can only get certain types of gameplay experiences from a game like Halo. Yes, call it part nostalgia growing up with Halo CE Onward, but also call it just a passion for the sandbox style that Halo gives. There is no other FPS that delivers on that, and so I still play this game. I still care. But I'm just like you, I've been around in the trenches, man, fighting for Halo for a long time, and yeah, it's super fatiguing to see where it's at. I want to see it kicking butt, taking names, and being the best it possibly can be. And I didn't even touch this game really in Season 2. So for why I play, crashes and settings resetting and performance decreasing in terms of stability, those are probably the number one things that would turn somebody off like me. And I'm probably on the fence of the more dedicated, I'm gonna play this game through the bad times more so than, average gamer person. You know what I mean? So long story short, I think Season 3 was pretty fun and I enjoyed it. But I'm also in that stance too. Every time I see the comments of the people who are like, hey, they screwed up, I'm done, no chance, I won't be back till the next game. You're valid too, for sure. Go play other stuff. But I'm always gonna land in the basket of gaming for me is a stress reliever activity. Work, normal work, is already super nuts. Life right now, if you've looked outside, if you've watched the news, it's been gnarly for the last few years. So when I hop on to play something for an hour or two, I'm doing it to decompress, not to dissect all of the little minute details. And I had fun finishing this battle pass. There are some irritations that need to be fixed, legitimately. If they ever want this game to grow, they've got to get a progression system in here. They've got to improve the stability and the performance. But in some ways, there was some elements that made me more interested in Season 3 than in the previous one. So I'm hoping that indicates a direction moving in the right way. But who knows? I don't know. Let me know if you played through the Battle Pass. It's been interesting seeing on Twitter and on the community posts where everybody's landing here. Seems like a lot of folks haven't quite finished it up just yet, which means maybe I drove through it a little bit faster. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day. Subscribe to the channel for more FPS goodness, and we will see you again next time.